Good afternoon, welcome to F.E.M.
We hope that you're having a lovely Monday. I'm Phoebe Garner.
And I'm Emma Nelson. Here's what we've got for you today.
Protesters gathered at the Manchester Central Convention Complex to fight for the rights for the trans community.
I had to put my trans flag in my bag, and on my way home, that's what I'm going to have to do too. I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to feel scared for being who I am.
And our reporters Erin and Poppy went to Girls Who Walk, a walking group based in Manchester, which allows women to meet up every Sunday morning and make friends.
October is annual Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which aims to promote screening and prevention. Worldwide, female breast cancer is the 5th leading cause of death. In 2020, there were 2.3 million women diagnosed with breast cancer.
Later in the show, we're giving you some top tips for fundraising for breast cancer research this month. Protesters gathered at Manchester Central Convention Complex to fight for rights for the trans community after a speech made by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on the 4th of October was deemed transphobic.
The speech was made at the Conservative Party conference where Sunak told the audience, "We shouldn't get bullied into believing that people can be any sex they want to be. They can't. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. That's just common sense."
Health Secretary Steve Barclay used his conference speech to announce government plans to change the NHS constitution to ban trans women from being treated in female-only wards. Mr Barclay says the move will respect the rights of people who want intimate care from someone of the same sex.
The protest took place on October 15th and was organised by Trans Pride Manchester. A 17-year-old member of the trans community was brave enough to pick up a microphone and share their experience.
I'm here with my mum today.
Do you want to put it in your pocket?
Thank you, Mama. She's my biggest supporter, and it just shows how members of our community can support us, and everyone has the capacity to. The discrimination that we face isn't fair. None of this is fair. On my way here, I had to put my trans flag in my bag, and on my way home, that's what I'm going to have to do too. I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to feel scared for being who I am. I'm a child, I should feel safe. Trans rights are human rights.
Our F.E.M. reporter Holly Angus is in the studio to tell us more about fundraising and campaigns for breast cancer.
Hi guys, how are you doing today?
Thank you.
Good. So with October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we want to tell you some ways to fundraise and get involved. Physical activity is one of the most common ways to fundraise, and from sponsored walks, runs and cycling to swimming, there is plenty to do. Studies have also shown that physical activity can reduce your chance of cancer by 20%. So get up and active this October. Have you guys took part in any fundraising activities?
So I've done like Race for Life and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did Race for Life at school when I was at school. We did walk. Actually, we did walk. To be fair, I think we did a 3-legged walk.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people have took part in a Race for Life, and you get like the medal and the little goodie bag as well.
You do.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
I was saying as well, I did a bubble run as well, which was really
bubble
fun.
run.
What is a bubble run?
So it's basically just like coloured bubbles that get thrown at you after like each lap.
Oh, so not like zorbing then?
No,
Although that would be
unfortunately,
fun. That would be
unfortunately. But you know what? That's an idea. That's an idea for
That is an idea.
fundraising.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
a zorbing competition.
Yeah.
Well, many companies also create campaigns throughout October, which Diet Coke have done this year. Their Check Your Cans campaign is here to promote breast cancer awareness, where £1 will be donated with every pack sold, with a further twist of golden cans hidden within the packs, meaning you could win up to £1,000 if you find one. You can find these limited edition cans in Asda stores this month. I actually have one of the special cans with me now. Wow. So look at this. This is the special pink can. What do we think?
Fabulous.
What do we think about it?
I like it. I like it. I think it looks good. It's a bit different.
Yeah, it's something different. Would this entice you guys to go and buy Diet Coke more, like now that you get this special packaging?
Yeah, I think so. I think it would go in my outfit. I could just pop it in my little pocket and just...
Yeah.
I think it's nice that it's like standing for something as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think they've done it really well.
Definitely, and to donate a little bit of money as well.
Yeah, of course.
And I always say wherever I go, there isn't a Diet Coke far behind me. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's when you go to this month.
Thanks for that, Holly. Make sure to send us any pictures of your fundraising events to our Instagram @FemaleEmpoweredMedia.
In 2022, nearly 50% of adults in the UK reported feeling lonely.
Girls Who Walk is a social group set up in Manchester to help girls and members of the LGBTQ+ community to make friends and tackle loneliness.
Our reporters Erin and Poppy decide to get their hiking boots on and go and join them.
Filling the pavements and making friends as they go. Girls Who Walk was set up in July 2023 by Ella, who had moved back to Manchester after uni. She found it hard to meet people as she doesn't drink, so she wanted to start something alcohol-free, consistent and free of charge.
Which also is quite important, obviously. Cost of living at the moment, not everyone can afford to go out and do those expensive activities. So that's why this was set up, just as a free activity for girls to meet like-minded people and make some friends.
According to the UK government tackling loneliness strategy, loneliness is higher for those who are 16 to 24 years old and for females.
It's my first time. I feel like it's really hard to make friends in your 20s without going to uni anymore, so that's why I came.
After going viral on TikTok, gaining nearly 400,000 views on their first post, more Girls Who Walk groups have been set up in cities such as Liverpool, Cardiff and Bristol.
Girls Who Walk's been running for a few months now every single Sunday, and it's the perfect way for girls in Manchester to come and meet people. They've recently introduced a ticketed system because that many people are turning up every week. Today there was over 100 people on this walk.
Some people attend the walks just to give them something to do on their weekends.
As well, do something productive instead of another day of just watching a bunch of films or whatever.
I just wanted a new way to socialise and to make new friends and do something on my Sunday.
Yeah, I only moved to Manchester a month ago, so I only really know my housemates and work colleagues, so yeah, it seemed like a good way to meet people in a similar situation.
The group has now expanded and they host social events like pumpkin carving and drinks and dinners. They start most walks, like girls do, in a coffee shop. Erin Parker, Quays News.
50% of Gen Z men think feminism has gone too far. However, Hollywood has seen the opposite effect, with major female characters only reaching 35%.
So I feel like feminism, so you asked me a question if they've gone too far. I don't feel like they've gone too far. I feel like they fight for what they deserve. Does that make sense? Like they fight for their rights, for equality, and yeah, that's what I think.
I think it's got about right, but with some women it's gone too far. They've made the men do everything, and then they've gone so far they've become lazy. Really? I found that, but mostly it's worked out. Everybody does 50-50. So.
Do you think that feminism's gone too far?
Yeah, I think with radical feminism and political lesbianism, it's gone a bit far. I think we need to go back to liberal feminism and the origins of feminism, what the original feminist thinkers actually advocated.
No, I don't think it has, because there's still so much inequality and unfairness in the world of work, in developing countries. There's still a long way to go before equality for women, so no, definitely not.
So feminism hasn't gone too far because there still aren't equal rights and men are still advantaged in society, often through pay and career opportunities.
Wow, that's quite shocking. However, historically, Hollywood has had the opposite effect.
Yes, women only make up 35% of major characters in Hollywood movies, with horror genre especially going to stereotypical characters.
But now there is a new era of horror movies, with women being survivors. Our presenter Freya has more.
This week's Feminist Film Spotlight, we're putting a spooky twist and looking at the genre trope of final girls in horror. These ladies are the final girls alive at the end of a horror film, stereotypically very reserved and morally good, acting as the filmmaker's ideal message for their audience. There are thousands of iconic final girls throughout history, starting with Laurie Strode in Halloween, to more recently the Carpenter sisters in Scream 6, but they all have certain characteristics that define them, such as their girl next door character, their iconic and ear-screeching screams, and their drive to survive. The genre is constantly changing and evolving, leading to new eras of horror where we see more than one survivor and even female villains. With much more modern films being focused on the psychological side, which is where we see films such as Ari Aster's Midsommar and Ty West's Pearl come into play. Danny and Pearl, the final girls of those films, are a more modern version of the trope that modern horror produces and is a true representation of its form. Both women suffer psychological breakdowns due to trauma and the events of their respective films. They are a new wave of women, way more realistically portrayed in cinema, a step forward for the genre.
It's so great to see that women are having more complex roles in horror movies instead of playing a stereotype.
Yes, definitely. In some cases, taking the villain roles.
Here's a question. What sort of role would you play if you were in a horror movie?
See, we were talking about this earlier actually, and I
Yep.
was saying that when I'm in like an escape room before, like I'll cry or scream for a good like 10, 15 minutes, but then I'm in the zone, and then I'm like, maybe I'll be a survivor. So I'd like to think that maybe I wouldn't be the first to die, but also I'd love to be a villain. I'm the opposite of what a villain I should be probably. But
I think I could be a villain, to be fair. I'd like to think that, I wouldn't like to think. I think at the beginning I'd probably think, oh, I'd be the little woman who's like, and
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah.
But actually, I think you don't know what happens when adrenaline kicks in, and you don't know who you might become, what character you might become.
I think that's the thing, is
Yeah.
I'm like, I will scream, I will cry for the first few minutes, but then also
Compose
I like,
yourself.
when
Yeah.
I'm like in the zone,
Yeah.
I can get myself in the zone. It just takes me a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
But also doing an escape room in 40 minutes is pretty good, I have to say.
Yeah,
Because
no,
of
to
the crying
be
at the
fair,
beginning.
we like, actually when I was on it, I was like, you know what, we've got this.
Got this, yeah.
It's self-belief, isn't it? You've got to
It
believe
is
in yourself.
self-belief,
at
and
that
that's what all the
point.
women in the films are believing in themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what's your favourite horror movie?
Well, actually, I do really like Midsommar, and I also like Last Night in Soho. That's another example of a good main character. What about you?
Well, that's a good point. You know what? I'm actually not really a horror movie person. It's generally like with my friends. And I feel like I definitely need to watch stuff like Midsommar because I've never watched that.
You've never seen them?
No,
I mean, they're more
know.
psychological thrillers than horror, but
I watched one
really
the
like
other
them.
day though, and I genuinely can't remember what it's called, but it was on Netflix, and it's really good.
Is it
'cause
Play
it's like
Fight?
No, but
No.
it's like the whole film is set in one room, and it's phone call. It's a constant phone call. And I can't remember what it is, but it's so good because it turns out that the villain ends up being like the woman, and it's like
Spoiler! Don't have to watch
but
it now.
it's not too fair. Like you won't. It's not a big spoiler because it
Yeah?
takes a minute. I'll find out what it is and I'll put it on the Instagram.
That sounds really good.
It does. It is.
Anyway, moving on. Why did the feminist football player make a great witch for Halloween?
Because she knew how to cast a powerful spell. On that note, football.
Our sports reporter went to the Liverpool-Aston Villa's women's game. Here's the clip she got from the match. And we are now joined by Amy Jeanette, who went to this Liverpool-Aston Villa game. Amy, what can you tell us about this game?
Well, it was Liverpool's first home game of the season and they had tough opponents in Aston Villa. I did expect a lot more from this Aston Villa side because we've watched them build such a strong team over the last few transfer windows, bringing in huge talent like Rachel Daly, Ebony Salmon and Jordan Nobbs, but Liverpool came out fighting. Liverpool's transfer window has also been outstanding, bringing in the likes of Sophie Roman-Hogg from AS Roma and Marie Hobinger from FC Zurich. But for me, a standout player this match was Emma Kvisto. She is silent but deadly and is always there when you need her. The game ended 2-0 to Liverpool, with both goals being home debut goals from Marie Hobinger and Natasha Flint.
Thanks for that, Amy. It sounds like you had fun at the game. But I think we should ask what the latest news is in women's football and how the England winning the Women's 2022 European Championships has affected the game for women in general.
Women's football has definitely been on the up in the UK, with an average of 16 million people tuning in to watch women's matches on the TV, and WSL crowds increasing by 173% from the 21-22 season to the 22-23 season. Arsenal women, home to England's skipper Leah Williamson, have had the biggest increase in home crowd. For example, this season already, Arsenal have broken their own record of biggest crowd on opening weekend, with a whopping 54,000 people piling into the Emirates Stadium to watch the Gunners take on Liverpool, beating their own record of 47,367 from last season when they went head-to-head with their North London rivals, Tottenham Hotspur.
Thanks for that, Amy.
That's all we have time for today. Thanks for joining us.
We will be back on the 6th of November for another episode of F.E.M.
Don't forget to follow us on our Instagram at Female Empowered Media. And if you want to get involved in the show and tell us your story, feel free to give us a message. Bye!
Bye.